Hey, 5 Minute Freedom Fighters, it is Dean Soto here again with you. And today we're going to be talking about, I'm trying to get both of my hands in there. I'm trying to get both of my hands. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about testing, doing market research and testing your market by actually making sales. That more coming up. So the reason I'm not even gonna say okay. I'm trying to get a nice smooth transition with the podcast. If you haven't checked out the podcast, I have a really good transition into this stuff right away, and it works out really well. Go check out Freedom in 5 Minutes. Go Google Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. It's much better as a transition. Starting to this is not as easy, especially when I look at myself. It's so weird. Anyway, had a guest. So we moved up to Central California about 2 years ago. And we used to live in Orange County, California. We had a small little house in a suburb there, and we had some amazing neighbors. And one of those neighbors across the street from us were really good friends with us, our children, and they're actually from Japan, and so it was cool because we got to speak I speak a little Japanese, so I got to practice the language and stuff with with them on a regular basis. And the cool thing was that we actually had them come up to our place in Central California, up in the foothills, and they had a blast. It was only for a day and a day and a half. So they came one day, left the next, and so no, one day, but basically almost 24-hour period. But we got a hike on our land, which is I have about 20 acres out here, and it's actually a big hike because it's very hilly and hot. It's about 95 degrees at least when we were going out there. And then we went up to the lake. The lake is about 35 minutes, completely different. So if it's 95 degrees here, it's about 80 degrees at the lake. And so we went up to the lake and kayaked and everything. It was awesome. So this neighbor, he has a full-time job. However, on the side, he's been trying to grow his this Amazon business. He hasn't really totally started yet, but he went to China. He got these prototypes for this one particular product that I think is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to ruin any competition, bring in any competition or whatever. But let's just say that we actually used the product on the way, or not on the way, but to the lake. And it was extremely helpful. It was awesome. And it worked out really, really well. It was fantastic. Well, this product was a prototype that he had gotten from China. And he's showing me all the things that it does, and I'm like, wow, this is absolutely cool. I would totally buy one of these things. So he's showing me all these things, but he's told me that this is version number 3 of the product, and that he had other versions of this product prior. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. So what happened to those other versions? Like, why did you change them? And he's like, well, I didn't like this. I didn't like the quality of that. I didn't like this. I didn't think anyone was going to buy this. I wasn't going to buy that, or whatever, and so on. And I said to him, well, one, I was like, I would buy that thing right now if you sold it to me. I tried to get him to sell it to me, but he wouldn't. He wanted to do his next one. But I told him, I said to him, why don't you try selling this actual prototype on Amazon? Like this one that you have right here, try and sell it and see what happens. And he goes, oh, well, but this is a prototype. And I said, yeah, it's a prototype, but why don't you see if someone actually buys it? If someone, rather than spend another couple $1,000s to get another prototype of something that you think people are not going to buy, why not put it on Amazon? And he's was thinking a little bit, and he's like, yeah, no, I didn't think about it. And I said, dude, what better way to tell if somebody wants this than to actually put it up on Amazon and sell it and see if someone will pay for it, right? And he went from, and we actually talked about getting like a small amount, a small minimum order quantity, sending that into Amazon and seeing if he can sell all of that before spending thousands and thousands and thousands on stuff that he does not know is actually going to sell. And it went from a conversation of oh, you know, I don't like this quality, I don't like that, and so on and so forth, to now it's, what does the customer want? What does the customer want, right? And so a lot of the times as business owners, we tend to think that we know exactly what the customer wants. In fact, with Freedom in 5 Minutes, I'm taking the chance right now of seeing, do people actually want this version of my company? My company does well as the other version. Right now, this is starting a small little rebrand. And I don't know if this is actually going to work or not. If you go and check out the videos, I have not been doing Freedom in 5 Minutes brand in a long time. I've been doing my other brand for a long time, but not the Freedom in 5 Minutes brand, right? So I don't know. But how do I find out? I find out by trying and testing, putting this out there. Do I get customers? Is this compelling? Is this stuff that, do people really want to have Freedom in 5 Minutes? Like literally, do they want to learn how to create 5-minute videos that get turned into processes, and then you can have a virtual systems architect document those processes, and then actually have them do it so that you literally every 5 minutes you have freedom? Do they want that? Do they understand that concept? Do they want that concept? Right? I don't know. I think so. I know my customers under my other brand love it. They didn't know about Freedom in 5 Minutes prior to this rebrand. But do people want this particular brand, or do I go back to just focusing on my previous brand, which does the same thing? It's just not as catchy, I guess you would say. The best way to tell if a market wants something is to put it out there and see if they want it. If they don't, it's a great indicator that you need to move on to a different strategy, right? Great indicator that you need to move on to a different strategy. Back when I was doing the Online Empire Academy, which is still up, we used to do what was called a FIDIL, FIDIL. It comes from what's his name? Colin Terrio. He taught a thing called a FIDIL, which comes from Bill O'Reilly's famous clip when he was on what was it, A Current Affair or something like that. I forgot what it was. Where he goes, "F it, I'll do it live. We'll do it live." And that's what it means. F it, do it live. Okay. And so what we would do is we would put out a product and we'd send it off to our email list and sell that product without having created the product. So say I was going to teach something on how to use virtual systems architects, and I had a list of 10,000 people. I would say, hey, this is the product on how to use blah, 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 blah. We're going to be doing this live. So we would actually create the product live. But it's going to be, this is the lowest price we're going to send it. We're going to have it at or whatever. And we would sell the product before we even created it. Then we would actually create the product live. So when people bought, we would already know that $60,000, we sold $60,000 worth of this product. We got X amount of people already on board. Next Wednesday, we do the live webinar showing and starting the actual product. We do it over like 4 weeks, and then we would create the product off of those videos. Really cool. Worked out really, really, really well. And it was a great way to test the market. If nobody bought, or say one person bought, 2 people bought, we can actually just refund the money and say, hey, sorry, but there wasn't enough interest. But we would literally have people pay us to tell us what they wanted, if it was something of value or not to them, right? And so we would do that over and over and over and over again. And it was awesome. And it worked out really, really well. You can do the same thing with your business. You can do the same thing. So when you have a new service or a new product or a new thing, you can test out ahead of time. Put it out there to people and say, hey, we have this new service. We have this new service. We're going to just offer it as a discount right to the first 100 people. And if you'd like to jump on board, we're going to be starting this next week. Right now, you can buy it over the next 2 days, but we're going to be actually starting it next week. You can do things like that ahead of time to test whether or not something's going to work. Okay. The more that you can test with people actually paying you, the better, right? You don't want to just do it off of your mind and spend thousands and thousands of dollars not knowing if people are truly going to buy. Okay. So what is something right now that you have always wanted to do, that you wanted to build, and what's something that you could do to make that where you can turn that into a viable product ahead of time, offer it up, a viable service or product ahead of time, offer it up and see if people will actually pay you for it. I'd suggest you go and do it. If you have a new card game, hand do the cards, put it up on Amazon, see if someone buys it. Okay. If you have a new type of service, offer it to your existing customers, see if they buy it, right? The more that they vote with their money, the more they see the value in it, and the more that you can actually start growing that without spending thousands up front. So anyway, this is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com if you want freedom, literally freedom in 5 minutes. You want to show somebody how to do something in 5 minutes. They document it and then you never have to do it again. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com. Check out the masterclass there, business process scorecard, all this other stuff, and I think you're going to love it. So go check that out, and I'll see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes video.